Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday Recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And as always, we'll start with EVE Online, which has been a pretty normal week for me in EVE Online. I managed to do my daily chores, you could say, my daily goals for EVE, which is like, of course, the PI, my blueprint copies, getting my daily dose of points in order to get more alliance logos, which I'm hoarding at the moment. So that's something that I definitely do on a daily basis. Then you get the skilling spree. It was all about skilling spree last week as well, but I also managed to do a little bit of extra mining this week because I basically found something extra to watch. I do want to quickly mention that as well because perhaps some of you guys are interested in this. So if you would look for Queen's Ideas, that's a YouTube channel that I definitely follow and that inspires me to like grab a couple of sci-fi books, maybe look for a series to watch and things like that. And then last week I basically found this video about a series that's just started actually on YouTube, free to watch. It is for the Three-Body Problem, which is also a book series that I read through his channel, so definitely worth a look. And it's actually a Chinese series made in China, so I don't understand any of the spoken language, but with subtitles and with having read the books, I can follow it, and I have to say it's a very close adaptation as far as I can tell from the story that I remember from the books. And I think it's really interesting because then Netflix actually has announced that they're also making a series about the book, and it's going to be really cool to compare the book, the Chinese series, and then the Netflix series and see how all of that shapes out, and which I find to be the most interesting. But I have actually been blown away by a couple of the set pieces so far from the series that we've been able to watch, because it was basically exactly how I imagined it while reading the book. So it's really cool, and of course that is something that you can easily do while mining. It is have a second monitor and enjoy a series over there. So that's mostly what I've done last week. Now we got a couple of sales for Plex and things like that as well, so I thought that this week's EVE Talk was actually pretty interesting as well, but no real news on the development front. So obviously we are now waiting for CCP to come out with some news and some announcements about hopefully testing for the new Allegiance system. I think it got a new name, but we will of course keep you guys up to date, and I will keep an eye on that. One quick warning though, things are ramping up for me in real life as well. At work I've got a lot of work to do. Basically I have some trainings that I'm going to have to give to quite a few of my co-workers, so that may take some extra time and energy off my hands, but I will of course try to keep up with the weekly schedule that I've got going now. That should not be a problem. Other than that, for EVE Online, as I've said, I'm on the daily routine and I'm waiting for CCP to come out with the Allegiance system to then decide what might be my next goal in the game. PI still doing absolutely amazingly. We're still seeing more and new 1-year high points, so this is a great time to be making PI, bring it to the market, and maybe even to experiment with setting up planets to make some different stuff, because there are now some really big variations to come. With that one warning, of course, I do think that PI has basically become the new bottleneck for capital ship production after CCP fixed the bottlenecks for minerals, and so I would not be surprised if eventually CCP brings out the nerf bat and hits PI quite hard with it. But that is speculation on my part, so we will have to see how all of that works out. For now, it's a great time to just have your PI routine up and running. That brings me to my second game of the week, which has been some more Total War Warhammer 3 as well. Now I was of course watching the Three-Body Problem, so I had to do a little bit of catch up there. At this point there's like 8 episodes out and I think they're like 40 minutes each, so definitely had to find a passive way of also doing some Total War Warhammer 3 while watching the series. And so I went back for the Grand Cathedral. They basically have that passive option because they have the ranged advantage, especially when you play with the Storm Dragon. She gets bonuses to her army that is very specific for the ranged units there as well. So it's super powerful. Basically when you get into combat, all you have to do is set up a nice defensive line of some strong melee units, and behind that just array all your ranged units to rain death and destruction on the advancing enemy. And even if they're not advancing, they have such powerful artillery that they just start to destroy a lot of the units, and eventually at least on easy decides, well, we gotta do something think. So let's get into that gauntlet, and then my crossbowmen, just make short work of them. Very satisfying if you're looking for that passive playstyle. If you're looking for more active playstyle, there's definitely other options. I still have to explore Slaanesh and Chaos Undivided, I think it's called. So I still have a lot of stuff to explore when it comes to Total War Warhammer 3, but it's also a very fun game. I'm spending a decent amount of hours in there, and yeah, then I still have to do the Mortal Empires campaign as well. So very happy with that purchase during the Steam sales. I think it was like 20% off or something like that. But I've got a huge amount of time in there, and I'm still absolutely enjoying going through a campaign and planning stuff and getting new units, testing them out. Maybe even I actually also try to build a couple of very specific armies with like a lot of a single unit as like a big range advantage, but that one didn't do too much damage. But so there's a lot of stuff that I'm still enjoying and exploring in Total War Warhammer 3. Definitely another game that I would recommend. But then maybe if you guys are curious about that three body problem series, actually the release schedule, as far as I understand it, is on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So at the end of the week I didn't have stuff to watch, so I had some other stuff to do, and so I went for another experiment when it comes to Path of Exile, another crazy idea of mine, glass cannony, but this character did allow me to finish the Sanctum for the first time, so going through the final boss during the act. So I think there's like another phase of that, because she does say like find me again when you get stronger, but for the first time I actually built a character that managed to do that one as well on the first try. So I'm pretty happy. I've had a pretty amazing week, lots of sci-fi stories that I'm following and that I enjoyed, and then also quite a little bit of gaming. But as I said, I'm gonna have to try to keep everything combined with a ramping real life situation. Anyways guys, hope you enjoyed your week as well. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.